Hello everybody and welcome back, where today we're tackling a PSVR2 game that is yet to come out, but this isn't the PSVR2 version of the game, it's the PCVR version of the game, but for all intents and purposes it's pretty much just going to be the same when it comes over to PSVR2, and it seemed right up my alley, so I couldn't resist jumping in and taking a sneak peek of it, about an hour or so of gameplay, on PCVR in early access now. Now this is out of sight VR and it's very Little Nightmares-esque. I'm going to be making a lot of comparisons to Little Nightmares throughout this video because they are very similar across several different areas. This is a port by Flat to VR Studios and it's launched in early access for a couple of reasons, a few of which I can see already, which we'll get into. But overall this port is pretty fantastic, and if it comes to PSVR2 running well, it's going to be great, and so far I'm really enjoying it. Before we get into it, only 25% you are subscribed, so please feel free to do so, and thank you to our patrons and members who are all on the screen right now. With that being said, let's get straight into it. After I explain why I'm so late to all of this, Out of Sight VR, the embargo lift a couple days ago, I wasn't there to cover it, and the reason is AMD drivers just killed PSVR2 on PC with the new update. So after hours of trying to figure out what was wrong with my PC, turns out it was nothing really. It was the software that had been installed that had completely broken the PSVR2 adapter and experience. So if you're having trouble with PSVR2 on PC and you're on AMD, then roll back to the previous drivers and see if that fixes it, as it did for me. With that being said, yes, I did use the PSVR2 on PC for this first impressions to see what it would look like on the OLED panels, and Out of Sight VR doesn't disappoint. Before we talk about the visual experience on PC VR at least, but what can translate to PSVR2, let's talk what the game is about. Essentially, you're playing as a blind girl's Teddy. Now, she wants to escape the house that she's in, and this house is very sinister. There's a couple characters chasing you around trying to find you, as they know that you're trying to escape, and the whole situation is very Little Nightmares-esque. You'll sneak through corridors, solve puzzles, and undertake stealth challenges to try and escape from the people that are hunting you. The designs are very elongated or very wide like Little Nightmares, the house is very Little Nightmares-esque, the puzzles are very Little Nightmares-esque, but there are a couple of differences to that flat screen franchise that I do love so much. Mostly in the narrative, it's very clear what is going on from the get-go in terms of what you're trying to avoid here in Out of Sight, whereas in Little Nightmares it's a lot more subtle in terms of you piecing together what the moor is all about and where you are, whereas Out of Sight really kind of gives it to you, and also includes straight up dialogue, so the characters will talk constantly throughout the game. It never gets overbearing, at least not so far in my first hour, but they pretty much spell out a lot of things to you. But there is a little bit of intrigue about where it's going in terms of the motivation of some characters, so a bit of mystery is kept there, and it is quite creepy, the setup. As I mentioned though, you are playing as the teddy bear, not the little girl, and this gives you a very unique perspective. When the girl is carrying the teddy bear, you see through its eyes as she is blind, but she can also place it around the room, giving you that classic, again I'm going to make that comparison, Little Nightmares style view, where you can control the girl from an outside point of view, and this works really well. Flat to VR have done a fantastic job here. You feel like you're encapsulating this teddy bear, helped with the fact that the arm movements actually line up, which is very cool.
The scale of being in like a kid's room like this is crazy. To be this small. That looks sick. I'd love to have that in my house. Anyway. A little bit Hello Neighbor-ish, isn't it? Oh my god, I am a teddy. Oh my god, I move the teddy arms.
But I'm thoroughly impressed with how they've implemented this, and I can't wait for the PSVR2 crowd to get their hands on it later this year. The entire core mechanic of the game is this switching from sitting down to being carried as the bear to strategically figure out puzzles and progress to the next area. Visually, the game, even on lower settings, looks great. There's some nice ambient occlusion throughout different areas, the textures look really nice, the animation work is phenomenal, and I'm hoping that the PSVR2 version can hit a native 90Hz. However, the performance at the moment on PC does leave a bit to be desired. I'm running a 6700 XT, and I was running the game on medium settings, and it was running okay. It was a little bit stuttery, not really as smooth as I'd like it to be, and I could say goodbye to running it high or anything above high because my rig just isn't that powerful, and some people on 4090s are also experiencing some stutters on max settings as well with very beefy rigs. So there's some work to be done in the optimization, but this game is in early access, so that makes sense, and hopefully by the time the PSVR2 port is done, they can figure out some wizardry in terms of the optimization to get it running smoothly, because this one I feel like would be a lot more immersive if it was running native on PSVR2 when it eventually gets there, but at the moment it's running on PC and it's leaving a little bit to be desired in the performance side of things, but To be honest, at this stage, that's okay. I really enjoyed the atmosphere of the game and the music especially. It creeps in certain times, and it does have the lullaby-esque melodies that Little Nightmares has. Not to draw that comparison another time, but I will be doing it a couple more times. The music is very reminiscent, and that's a good thing for me. I felt right at home here in terms of the world that I was being put into, and the game genuinely felt creepy. From the position that you're in as the teddy bear, everything feels gigantic to you, and this makes the enemies a lot more scary, and you really want to avoid them because they're huge, they're imposing, they're towering, and I feel like I really want a Little Nightmares port now, an official one, because the scale of that world would really come across so much better as it does here in virtual reality. Out of Sight is getting a normal and flat version of the game and a VR version of the game, and in my opinion it's no contest which one you should pick if you have the option. The VR version is so good. The scale is amazing and it's really creepy. The hallways are a little bit samey so far, as the house seems to kind of not duplicate but look very similar in different areas, but it is sufficiently creepy and off-putting in terms of its design, with a couple of puzzles that again, very similar to Little Nightmares, opening cupboards, climbing up them, moving objects, climbing up those objects, flipping switches, pulling levers, climbing through crawl spaces, all the good stuff that you know and love from that franchise is pretty much here. It doesn't feel like it's purely imitating it though, it does have plenty of fresh ideas in terms of this third-person character perspective, and also with its delivery of what the game is about to you in terms of dialogue and world building. I really enjoyed the gameplay and the vibes of the game so far. Again, similar to Little Nightmares and games that run along the same path like Inside, this is not an open world game, you're being funneled along a direct path, but to be honest, I think that's pretty good. In games like Little Nightmares 1, 2, Inside, they benefit from being linear and focused. You're always on that mission to get to the objective that you're working towards, and it doesn't let the game drag at all, which I appreciate. I know some people would have preferred if you are backtracking a bit and getting items and all this, but it's a very simple design with puzzles, and I think it works for the game for sure. Overall, that's about all I've got to say about Out of Sight VR on PC VR at the moment. This is probably all I'm going to play of it as well. I kind of want to leave it till the PSVR2 version comes out to get my reaction to the game there, because so far I've loved it and I think it's just going to continue on this path and I'm going to enjoy it. So I'm going to wait for the PSVR2 version, but so far on the PCVR version, I've been having a great time. It's got the right atmosphere and vibes, and overall is built really well, and it's a good VR port as well. It feels like VR matters to this port rather than being tacked on. The mechanics properly work. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know if you're excited for Out of Sight on PSVR2 or PCVR if you do have a PCVR headset and a PC. Of course, you can go and pick it up on Steam in early access right now. Just be aware that the performance, at least for me, wasn't fantastic, but that should be ironed out as the early access window closes later this year. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one.